Welcome to the Middle Room Workshop. Today I'm going to show you the brand new NEJE 3 Pro. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, it's been a year since I got my NEJE Master 2S Plus, and as you know, I've been featuring that machine in most of my video tutorials. Now it is finally time for an upgrade, and this is the brand new 2022 NEJE 3 Pro. This machine, along with other machines of the same series produced this year by NEJE, come with a bunch of interesting upgrade and feature, which I'll discuss later on my video. Now, this particular model ships with NEJE's most powerful laser module, which is the A40640, and by the time of recording this video, it also happened to be one of the most powerful laser module in the market right now. Now, I've received this machine free of charge by a company called Oakeroo. They are an European-based resellers and manufacturing company. I'll put their link in the video description below. And for this video, I'm planning to show you what was on the box, including the accessories. Down the line, I will also show you the assembly, and I have to tell you right away that this was by far one of the simplest machines I've ever assembled in this channel. In particular, because of the wiring harness, basically everything is pre-assembled onto the gantry, and the only wire you will need to assemble is the one that connects directly to the laser module. All of the other accessories that you will see, they will basically be optional, so you will need to wire them up only if you need to. Then I will also show you how to set up the machine with NEJE's proprietary desktop application, and this is going to be the newest version of their desktop application, which was upgraded specifically for this new series. And then finally, we'll also show you how to engrave your first project. Along the way, I will then give you some of my thoughts based on my experience with the previous series of machines. So, without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Alright, so this is the content of the box. That's all you will get. Now, something that I really like is that with this upgraded model, with this new version here, they went ahead and used a minimalistic profile. So this profile is actually much smaller compared to a traditional one, which you can see over here I have purchased separately. However, I believe that the channel at the end is the same size, so it's supposed to be able to use the same rollers over here. And so now that's what you get. Apart from the framing system, that's the gantry with the main board on side, an easy connector here exposed. I'll explain that in a while. And you see that there is also this connecting rod, so that basically both sides are going parallel without possibility to sway a little bit, and so you get not perfectly squared stuff. Then the railings, so this is all about the structure. So what I like is also that they are including a drag chain, so that's where the cabling and the pipe eventually can go through, and it will keep the wiring all tidy and close to the body of the machine at all times. Then, okay, this is the laser module. This is one of the most powerful in the market, the most powerful that they produce, NEJE. So this is the A40640. It's a dual laser with a 10 watt, approximately 10 watt power output. By the way, I've received my laser power meter, and so I'll definitely try that out for another video. Alright. Then we got the usual bunch of tools over here, some testing material. These are the timing belt, which we'll need to put inside. then the power supply, the USB cable, then we got the user manual. Alright, so as I said at the beginning, the machine ships with a bunch of interesting features, actually I should say accessories, and I'm going to show you that right now. Now the first one you can see in front of you. This is basically an emergency button. Now we have already seen machines with emergency button, and as I usually emphasize, that's something very important to have for such a machine. However, here the brand have taken the approach a little bit differently. They are basically giving you the emergency button with approximately a meter of wire, and so if you intend to build an enclosure or a box around your machine for safety purpose or for smoke extraction purpose, you can basically plug this into the board, and then you can install the emergency button wherever you find it suitable, outside from the enclosure, obviously. Another very cool feature that I found is the air assist kit, which actually comes with an electrically controlled valve. So that's an electro valve. So you got a solenoid here. Again, this one connects to the machine, to the main board, and then this is basically controlling either opening or closing the valve inside. So it comes also with, I believe here we got 1.5 meter of hose, okay? And they're also providing you a reductor so that you can basically plug in the standard hose from your air source or compressor line, and then you can basically reduce it to this size over here, okay? This is actually a cool accessory to have so that you can control it within the software directly. And finally, this small box over here, this once again will allow you to control something directly through the software. So this will enable you to control the exhaust system. So if you're going to install an extraction fan, or even you can use the fan from a PC, you can basically wire this up to the main board, and then on the other side you can wire it to the fan. The interesting thing is that they are also providing a power in for the device and the power out if you have one of those power jack for your device. And inside you can see basically that you have the two mode of operation. So you can basically install directly the wiring inside, or you can use one of those adapters, okay? And so these are, I think, very good features to have for your machine. Alright, now let's return to the assembly. And so I've now left on the table everything that is related to the assembly. Everything else is something that can be added if you need to. And then at the end I will stick in the laser module, which goes over here. Now, they provide a very simple user manual with in multiple languages, but the installation page is basically one, and it's basically this one. You can see step 3 installation. So let me see. Yeah, you can watch their video tutorial if you'd like, but I think the installation is pretty straightforward. So we'll basically need to take those two, which are like at the end. Then we'll need to use this to connect the front and the back, and this should be inserted into the gantry, or the gantry should go over them. And yeah, let's see how easy that is. And as you can see, we are pretty much done. So we can go ahead and shorten this up. Not very short, just to leave few teeth where we can catch. Yeah, so that's remaining. And everything seems going smooth. Yeah, now here, because of the drag chain and the radius of curvature that the drag chain needs in order to work, you will need to leave a little bit of space over to this side. So this is something common. Yeah, but it is actually okay, it's doable. The machine is actually fairly compact because of this design, because of the small profiles here. So let me see over here. And by the way, what I've noticed with this machine is that the where it is, I touched it earlier. There we go. So this time the homing switch for this is the y-axis is over here, and for the x-axis is over here, which means that finally the homing will be on the bottom left corner, which is something very important, because in the machine that I have, the 2S, the Master 2S Plus, basically the home was on the top left, and actually the zero coordinates is in the bottom left, and so it's a little bit like awkward, but it's workable still. Alright, now the machine seems pretty solid. I really like with this drag chain. It gives like a small touch of professionality. Now, if you wanted to use some of these, as you can see over here, I'm not going to show you this today in this video. You basically have over here to the side, you can see where the main board is located, you have a quick access connector, and there is some labeling in them. Okay, let me put this down. So yeah, so you can see, you can have LIDs, M8, M7, laser, motor Y, motor X, and the door. Okay, and so this will respectively control, leaving the LID aside, one of those things. The cool thing about the air assist is that you have a place over here where you can place, where you can put the electro valve, and so that's very cool. Okay, all right. Now, with the assembly out of the way, let's connect it to the computer. Let's pair it with the proprietary software from NEJE, and let's set it up. Let's see if everything works fine, and let's also test the machine. Alright, so once the machine is fully assembled and correctly wired up, which should be because the only cable we connected was to the laser module, everything else was pre-assembled, it is time to give it the power and the USB cable and to power it up. And so let's take the cable here. As you can see, there will be this array of LIDs which are going on and then off. And now the USB cable. Alright, now it is time to jump over to the computer or PC and continue from there. Alright, so once on your PC, it is time to install the controlling software. Now, as a first startup, I will highly recommend you to go ahead and use the proprietary software. So that would be the NEJE Desktop application. If you happen to have already one installed, that's most probably not going to work because they have a new version, and so I will show you where you can get the version and where and how we can basically install everything. So open the browser and we'll need to head up to the NEJE Wiki. I'll put the link in the description below. So over here on the side, select your machine, NEJE 3 Pro, then scroll down until you find the software download here. In my case, I'm using Windows, and so now the only thing you will need to download if you have Windows 10 or higher is the NEJE 614.exe, and let's give it an open, and let's wait for it. Now, a software update is available. I'll simply give it a no. I noticed that this is maybe a bug, or perhaps it's like some problem or conflict with the existing application, but you will see now what happened. Basically, the machine is connected. Now, the first thing that you will notice the machine to do, if the machine is anywhere on the working area, is that the machine will basically go back to home. But in this case, the machine was already there, so that's not a problem. All right, now the software that comes with the machine, the proprietary software, it's a very primitive software, so it's very limited in functionality. Also, I've been seeing a good upgrade since the previous version, and so now there are a bunch of new features. By the way, if you're interested to know more about the software, I have an in-depth tutorial. It is based on the previous version, but most of the functionality are there and they will work pretty much the same way. So over here you have a tutorial tab where you can get information basically. So if you want to go, for example, to the wiki where we've been, that's where you will find it. Then you have a very large array of image. So there are lots of images here. The only caveat here is that you cannot use the scroll in the mouse. You will need to use the clicks, which is a little bit of a pain because it's not very easy to go around it. However, the cool thing is that once you like something, you can basically right click, actually left click, and then add to favorite, and then you will find this into my collection, as you can see over here. Okay, and then you've got the control tab. That's where basically you will be while the machine is engraving, and that's where you will basically define all of the parameters of the machine. Okay, and so now the first thing that I'm going to show you is how to put the laser in focus. So it is very important before to try on launching any kind of engraving to have the laser on focus. Now there are several methods to do that, but I will show you one that is the simplest for the moment, just the easy way. Then I have also a bunch of videos showing how to achieve the optimal laser focus. Okay, and so to do that I will want to move now here there is a parking button. If we go over to the settings, we can select the location of the parking. So I will put it to the center and I'll say save. Okay, we can close this and I'll go to parking, and so this will basically bring the module to the center where it will be very easy for us to work out what we have to do. So once we are here, we basically need to make sure that the pointer is at the tiniest possible. Okay, and so to do that, now this is the old model that I had was a fixed focus. This one, it's claimed to be a variable one, but I'll tell you what, if you don't touch the focus, if you leave it in default, you can basically go ahead and simply adjust the height of the module and you are good to go. There are instances where adjusting the focus from the knob inside comes handy, but that's topic for another video. Alright, so in order to adjust this, first of all, we have to place beneath the material that we are intending to cut or engrave, and so I'll do that right now. Alright, so this is the material that I would like to engrave for this demonstration. Now, as you can see, the spot is fairly tiny, but we will test it out. So we can loosen the clamp and we can try to go up and down with the laser module. Alright, as you can see, the laser now is free. Now, what you will want to do is to basically go down and then up and to try to see how the spot changes, okay? When you reach a point that, in your opinion, it's very good, okay, like almost there, you can retighten everything up. Now, another way that you could follow is to basically take some measuring device like a ruler and to measure the height. Now, this module has a 22 millimeters of focus height. That means from the edge of the inspection glass. And as you can see, we are pretty much there. Not precise, but pretty much there. And so once we are happy with that, we can also position our material the way we want it to be. So I will want to be kind of as much as possible orthogonal to the axis, and then we can jump back into the computer. Alright, so back into the PC. It is now time to try something out. So let's select something from my collection, for example. Now, once you like something, we can click on it, and you will see that this pop-up says cut. It appears. Now, if you're new to laser engraving, be aware there is an option for either cutting or engraving. It is all dependent on the power and speed settings that you are going to provide, and so bear that in mind if you're looking for a cutting button. Okay, so let's give it okay. Now here with the scroll wheel we can zoom in, we can see. Now if we wanted to, we could resize it. Actually, I will make it a little bit bigger, say 40 millimeters. Okay. Alright. Now I can give it okay. Now here you have a few effects that you can choose from. This is the image as we saw it earlier. This is the image with a different effect, and when you see a blue slider, it means that you can actually change the things here. So in my case, I'll go with the standard one. Just click on it. Now here you can also do some simple editing like rotate, flipping and reversing. Okay, and you can also input some text. Anyway, in my case I don't want anything, so I will simply click on OK. And once I'm done with that, the first thing you want to do is to frame. To frame, it means that the laser is going to show you an outline on where the engraving is going to take place. And so I'll click on it. Alright, so once you're happy with that, you can click on stop. If you wanted to move it, you could use this directly from the canvas. You can click it and drag it. Or you could simply use the arrow keys to move around or to jog. That's the way it is. So let's give it on stop. Now here you have the number of times, so that's the number of passes, how many times you want this to pass. So in our case we want just once. Then the important parameters are the laser power, which I think is straightforward to understand, and the burning time. Now if you're new to laser engraving, be aware the industry has a parameter which is the speed. That's the speed at which the axes are moving in average, okay, for the engraving. However, NEJE it's using a different approach. It uses different algorithms, and let's say burning time, consider it like the reverse of the speed, okay? And so that means that the lower you go, the faster the machine will be. Now, in this case, we are going to make a test on this birch plywood. So I want to be as fast as possible. Let's try to be 1, and then I'll put the power at, let's say, a 40%, I think 40% is good. Bear in mind that this is a very powerful laser module, so you want to pay attention on what you do, because you will end up going through materials very easily. Also, one more thing I usually recommend is you never want to use your laser module, no matter what kind of machine you're working with, at 100% of power. So you will always want to be like 80-90% maximum. That's what I normally recommend, but never beyond that, because you want to preserve the life of your laser module. Okay, and so once you're done with that and you are happy with it, we can click on play. This will basically load and we'll start the engraving. Now, as you can see here on the bottom, we have a progress bar along with a percentage and the time elapsed. So we'll need to wait for this now to finish. All right, now I will speed everything up and we'll see what's the result. Alright, as you can see, our first engraving is successful. Now, this is pretty much all for the startup. So in this video I showed you how to work with the proprietary software from NEJE, the NEJE Desktop application. Remember, if you have a previous version, you will need to update in order to work with this new series of machine that came out recently. Now, as I said, the software is fairly limited in its options and operations. Also, it's using this different approach with the burning time, which in a way also limits how fast the machine can go with this controlling software. So in my upcoming videos, I will show you, first of all, the mobile application from NEJE. Okay, there is a new version for it as well, so you can control the machine without the need of a computer directly. And then I will show you the two most used controlling software, which are based on GRBL firmware. One of them is Laser GRBL, which you can see over here. This is a free software. It's only available on Windows, but there is some workaround if you want to use it on Mac. And then the other one is Lightbarn. Lightbarn, in my opinion, is like the top for laser engraving. It is like $50, but if you are intending to use the machine and to do many things, and especially if you want to do complex project which involves both cutting and engraving at the same time, it is something that I would highly recommend you to to go for. Okay, so this will be for the next videos about this machine. All right, and this is pretty much all for this video. Now I got you started with the machine and with the proprietary software from NEJE. So for the time being, if you're interested to learn more about laser engraving, also how to use the NEJE application, how to work with NEJE machines or with laser engravers in general, I would highly recommend you to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of content which covers many different things, materials, tricks and solutions on how to do stuff. And so for the time being, thanks for watching. Ciao guys.